everything is going smoothly. I don't think anything has ever gone this smoothly on Beyond the Veil. But let me tell you guys, welcome to Beyond the Veil. Part, I don't even know really at this point. Something. We've been going deep here lately, and by deep, I mean abyssal deep and beyond. Truly. I just want to say thank you guys so much for being here tonight. Let me get my chat box pulled up on my end. I was carrying on a good conversation with you guys. If you guys are tuning in after this live broadcast, I do encourage you guys to join in on the live streams. Like, by live streams, I mean being present during the lives. It's so important. YouTube, first of all, let me say that I've learned that this is the thing I'm supposed to be saying, that this is for entertainment purposes only. And the things that I say are just for that purpose only. So without further ado, I'm going to move on forward past that weird, awkward moment. But anyway, YouTube has a way of taking my videos and the things that I put in there, like the videos within videos, and they like to restrict them and or swipe them out and back them out and delete them and everything else after all my hard work. But the benefit of being here live is you guys get to see them before they get deleted off of YouTube. So that's a bonus in itself. I just want to say that. And you also get to skip like ads. I think YouTube puts ads sometimes in videos, or however that works. You get to skip all that stuff too. That's another big old bonus for sure. But you guys that are live right now, whoa, I want to say something. I have discovered well over 200 some things. I've been trying to figure out everything, like how much just combining 2 years worth of everything into a thought, and is a lot. However, this one is nuts. I don't know. I was having a normal day, I guess, today, and I was already excited about tonight's live because I was like, yeah, we're going to continue forward with Atlantis. I got plenty to keep them going with that one because of just the maps and things on Google Earth, all those things I showed you on the part 2 of this. I encourage you to go back and watch after this video. Okay. By that, I mean, we covered a lot in part 1, which would be the Jormungandr decode, which is technically Ragnarok decode. I encourage you guys, if this is your first time ever watching Beyond the Veil, let's say you've never watched me before, make sure you guys go and check out those. Okay. Start with the Ragnarok. And then after you watch the Ragnarok, watch the Atlantis Rising, and then watch this one. But if you're here right now, stick around. Okay. But here's a recap. Okay. There is this big serpent, the ancient serpent, the darkness that was over the face of the deep. The face of Atlas had a darkness upon it, and it was indeed the wrath of Satan himself. By that, I mean, this was that ancient, primordial, I mean, Titan field. I'd consider the Atlantean kingdom, which is a water kingdom. You got to realize, before there was earth pulled up and all those things, got to realize there was a heaven, there was an earth created, but there was also darkness over that earth. And we also know later that it was only water, and or it was possibly a flood. But we talked last night that the Atlantis movie actually starts off literally, it's the Atlantean kingdom, just the water kingdom, and all of a sudden there's this nuclear explosion, causes this big old flood, and the water covers the face of the earth and buries this ancient kingdom where all the people have white hair and blue eyes glowing. Okay, light bearing. That all sunk. We compared all that to Tartaria and stuff like that. But we also talked about what some of that was. Well, it wasn't just ancient technology and stuff. It was everything you can imagine. Titans, big ones, big old beast. Like, you guys ever seen Marduk in his regular form, or Marduk, or whatever you want to call all these people, Mardoom, or if you're watching Brave, Marduk. It's the big black crazy bear with the one scratched one eye symbolism, which is actually Nimrod as well. I can get into the Antichrist thing all over again. But with that said, the regular earth before God created us, and before he pulled up the dirt out of the water again, before all that, it was darkness over the face of the deep. You got to realize before there was light in the world, remember Yeshua said, I am the light of the world. Before he was brought into the world, you got to realize there was darkness there. That's why Satan is considered the first angel, the most powerful, the most beautiful. He was the first, right underneath. You got to realize darkness was created first. The lesser light was created first. That's why it's the morning star. He's the lesser light. He was the morning star, meaning the first thing you see in the morning. He was the morning star. But the bright morning star was you got it, folks, Yeshua, the Son of the Most High God. Yeshua is the greater light. He is the good light. That's why everything that the light brought in, you remember everything was created, everything good was created through the Son, the S-U-S-O-N, Son, the Son of God, Yeshua. The Father created everything through the Son, the good Son. But remember, he created all the darkness through the bad son, the black son, the dark son, Satan. Satan. Okay? Well, he created through Satan. Well, that's Leviathan, which is actually, if you want to be specific, Tiamat. Created Tiamat. And he created Mars and Jupiter. Before they were planets, they were titans of water, like Jupiter, the Atlantean god, Poseidon. Well, all of those that your star systems are named after were technically water gods, darkness, Atlantean gods, spawns of Satan, if you want to be specific, even the bad stuff. That's why Loki, he created what? Loki's son was the Jormungandr, which is the Earth's necklace, which is what Jormungandr means, which is the great serpent that surrounds the face of the earth that we have cracked wide open. Remember? We talked about, well, as above, so below. First off, he's you got it, the Milky Way galaxy. But then on the Earth, he is, like we see here, we have Jormungandr. It says it right there. He circles the Earth as above, so below. But by that, I mean he's right there in the ocean, folks, like I was trying to tell you, circling the Earth. Because Antarctica is not a continent. It actually goes around the face of the Earth. But they got everything all kinds of backwards. And right here, literally, I want to say, right in front of his face is where his tail goes in his mouth. And in the old culture of Nordic mythology, Norse, when his tail is released from his mouth, that's why all that scraping is going on there. When all that tail is released from his mouth, what happens is he lifts his tail out of the ocean, opening the top of the abyss where the Kraken and all the other titans of old. Remember, he separated the deep. He separated the deep and the waters from above and below. He stored the deep, the darkness above the dome and under the face of the earth. By that, I'm talking about this. Outer darkness in the book of Enoch is what the scientists call outer space. But what it is dark waters. It's the deep and all the titans. Don't you understand what happened the other day when I made that post about the person with the moon and they could see that titan just floating in the water above the moon? Like he had just been in prison there, just stored out just outside of the firmament. You know, because the sun and the moon are within the firmament, but outside of that is what? The stars. But what stars? The titans, the bad and the good. Some are restraining them. There's a reason why Saturn has rings around it. The Bible and Enoch call it the restrainer, holding back Saturn. Well, who was that? Well, you got to remember, in Revelation, it says that the angel Michael is sitting on top of something. Michael is the restrainer, and it says when he stands up, he will release the restrainer. There's a reason why scientists, quote unquote, have said that that Saturn's rings are dissipating. They're disappearing. They're fading away. The restrainer is being set loose. And you can see that now. Like that's an admitted thing. Well, there's a reason why just after this eclipse, he released his tail, caused a huge tsunami that hit Africa literally, and released the Kraken exactly as I told you guys was going to happen. There he is. Remember, we talked about his tentacles, we talked about the waves that washed upon, and we talked about literally on this map. That's right where the tail is. That's where the opening of the portal is. We covered all that, folks, in depth. So if that shocked you at all, well, just wait until you watch part 2 in last night's video. But tonight, I'm not really going to be talking about that stuff. What I'm going to be talking about is a whole lot crazy. Okay? we're gonna be talking about this man. See that black horse behind him? Have you guys even seen Jumanji? Like, the black horse isn't even that big of a deal. And yet, there's Apollyon, the destroyer, the black horse. Holy moly. But you got to remember, you guys are like, what about Donald Trump? Yeah, I'm going to blow you guys' mind tonight. We're going to deep dive into Nero and Vespasian. We're going to talk about the first beast and the second beast. We're going to talk about how Nero came in and caused the first part of everything that we covered in depth in the 1,000-year reign decode. And then we're going to talk about how he fell halfway, and Vespasian came and he literally crossed the Euphrates River with 4 legions of Titans. Well, we covered that in depth too. That was Vespasian, who came in after the first beast suffered a head wound and died. Nero died halfway through the 7-year tribulation that started in 66 AD, literally on Pentecost, when Peter and Paul were killed and humiliated in the streets. 3 days later, came back to life, and you have witness accounts of them being called up in the heavens, even the temple lighting up in the middle of the night, and everything else that I've been trying to tell you guys. But other than that, I want you to know this. There's a first beast and a second beast, and Donald Trump is indeed what I've been trying to tell you guys too, the same person. And it's all what, well, like I say, whenever somebody becomes a president, they go through this office building up there by literally where the inauguration takes place. They go a couple doors down, and you know what they do? The Osiris Risen ritual, which is literally the vril ritual, where the host is passed on to the next. That's how Nero became Vespasian and continued his reign. Well, here's something crazy. Do you guys know that 46% of people want The Rock to be president? But here's this. Donald Trump hasn't announced his vice president yet. Do you know what would be crazy? Is if Donald Trump became president and his vice president became Dwayne, which means black, which means dark, which is why he played Black Adam, by the way. Dwayne means black, dark, and then you got The Rock. And then you got Johnson. We're going to be talking about all 3 of those phrases tonight in depth. We're going to be talking about a what-if situation. Let's say Donald Trump comes into office. Let's say the beast suffers a head wound, and the second beast comes and is given power the same as the first beast. It says that right in your Bibles, folks. And this one literally is given powers. Do you know we're conditioned to expect a hero to come at some point? Like, everybody's like, oh, I love comic book series and stuff. It'd be so cool if it was real. There's a reason why this dude right here is jacked, too. Let me tell you. It says the second beast is going to be like, he's going to have power. He's going to have everybody fooled as a hero. See, people don't think magic, things like that, all that's not real, but they'll read it right in their Bibles. Here's what's crazy. Okay? First beast goes down, Donald Trump, blonde hair, blue eyes, Nero, as he starts the reign. Brings in Noahide and all that stuff. Let's say all these titans that are starting to come out of the portal, like that one I showed you, KRAKEN, and then the other one that came up that literally looks like a shark dorsal fin separating the waters. But then the only thing I got the screenshot. The second anomaly looks like the megalodon, literally already. And by that, I mean he's huge. Okay, you think the KRAKEN was big? That was a dorsal fin, a huge one, separating the waters. That's why it looks like that weird triangular shape. I'll show you guys that later as well. Let's say something happens to Don, which means Lord, and then you have Donald, which means ruler of the world, and then you have Trump, the last Trump of Babylon, the great before its fall, and the recovery of who? Vespasian, the second beast / Dwayne the Rock Johnson as well, who comes in with power and titans crossing the Euphrates River that dried up. Okay. Just wait till I unpack some of this stuff for you guys tonight. Okay, I'm ready. I'm just like beyond ready. Like, I'm so ready. This is going to be crazy. Let me get the comments over here. Okay. I don't see anybody talking about it yet. So maybe it just hasn't got there yet. Okay. The first thing I want to talk about with 80 of you tonight is this, okay? The first thing I want to say is let's figure out how many times Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, in some way, shape, or form, has journeyed to, I don't know, an island that is full of titans and beasts, where he happens to go into the earth at some point, and he always happens to bring back some beast or titan with him. We're going to be looking at it tonight, okay? But let's start out with some. Let's start out with. I know. Stephanie Locke says, I'm speechless. You don't even know. I haven't even opened the can. I haven't even like pulled out the can opener or nothing. Like the can's just sitting there, and I'm like, hey, read the label. This is just what's right in front of your face. Okay. Oh. Okay, here we go. Part 1 of this series. I'm going to screen share. You ready? Let me add to stage a bunch of stages within stages within stages. That was trippy, huh? I didn't mean to do that to you. Just crazy. All right. Part 1, we're going to run here, folks. Okay. Let me make sure we're good. Okay. I'm going to check my volume on this end. Sweet. Okay. My volume is working. My audio is working. I have a second screen up tonight, and this should be awesome. First off, let's look at this map. Okay. Covering what we talked about last night, actually, before we look at this map, let's look at all these maps, okay, that I've got in a collection here, okay? You guys remember last night where we talked about the Atlantic Ocean, okay? And we talked about within the Atlantic Ocean, we have the word Atlantis minus the S, changed to a T. And then we have the Atlas Mountains right there at the edge of the Sahara Desert. And then we have Atlanta, Georgia, right there at the edge of the United States, both within the same distance from coast inward to those sites, which is nuts. You know why? Because they're the face of Atlas divided into two. Why? So the third eye, Atlantis, the center, sunk. Ain't that nuts? But that ain't nothing. That's just me speaking on some stuff we've already covered. Okay. With that, we found these maps, some of them. Okay. We talked about like some of these old ones like this right here. I think the best way for me to do it is, I guess it's okay. Yeah. So we talked about this one. You can see in the center, if you look closely, if my screen shares on, you can see right in the center is Atlantis right here, in between the United States, okay, and also we have over here Africa. We have Atlantis, okay. We found this map first. This is Iceland, okay, and this is where Greenland and all that is up here, okay. This is the Antarctica ice wall that surrounds the face of the Earth, and these are openings within the Antarctica ice wall, by the way. That's why it says Antarcticus. Circulus, because it's a circle like the face of a watch. Circulus Antarcticus, because it circles the face of the flat, stationary, non-rotating Earth. Because, like I said earlier on my live stream, a magnetic field forms a dome. It does not form a square. It does not form a globe. It forms a dome over a flat plane, and then it forms beneath it the same thing. So, here we go. I showed you also this map. Here. Okay. This one's more in depth. This is why I want to show you this. Okay. On this one, we have, if you look here, Melissa, I know this is going on. Every time you call, it's interrupting the thing for tonight, the broadcast, the internet. But yes, I'm meaning to keep this up here. I do appreciate you helping me there. But hold on one sec. This, by the way, if you don't know, here in my chat box, we have Melissa right up here. She is one of my people keeping you guys in control. So if somebody's up here, like acting crazy, like a troll, okay, just be like, hey, Melissa, or Amy, or sometimes Braden even moderates these things. And I'm trying to get more people up here to moderate. Okay. Moderation is important. But I want you guys to look at this map right here. Okay. I see what you see. I got a screen up tonight, which makes it a little different and helps us out a whole lot. On this map, you'll see Atlantis here. Okay. But you will also see like circles here. Okay, you see Atlantis, but you see this big circle in the middle here, and circles within circles and circles. We're going to be talking about those circles tonight. Okay. Now, we also looked at, let's see, we talked about this map. Oh, yeah. Here's another one with Atlantis being here as well. This one's situated more here, and look at this. The shape of Atlantis is what I really want you to pay attention to. And before this was the Atlantic Ocean, it was the Atlantischer Ocean. Okay. Okay. Now, where were we? Okay. Do you know what's crazy? You can kind of see the shape of the snake head down there, even on this map, which is nuts. Like they knew. Okay. Anyway, we talked about those. On top of that, what the main thing I want you to know is this. On each one of those maps, you see Atlantis, but you see these weird things across the ocean as well, outside of Atlantis. We're going to talk about that. Okay. What that is what I was trying to tell you about in my live last night. Okay. This is where I'm going to pick up from last night's live, or the night before light, now last whenever. Oh, it was actually Sabbath. Okay. Is this. Okay. How do I even start? Okay. Yeah. I told you guys, we went through a bunch of videos that I'm not going to put up here tonight because this is going to add to the CR, and you guys know what I mean by that, of this whole video. But we covered a whole lot of videos last night where it showed Iceland being the entrance to the center of the earth. We also talked about the movie Atlantis and how this happened. The opening parts of the movie Atlantis, when I was a little kid, I watched it. He makes it clearly. He has the Nordic writing in the background. Okay. And then in the writing, it says the coast of what they thought was Ireland. Okay. But what had happened was it was a mistranslation. It wasn't Ireland. In fact, it was Iceland. Okay. And this is when he pulls up a map and shows an X right there in plain sight on Iceland. Well, I also went on Google Maps and I showed you guys there was a volcano right there on the X. Wowzer. So on top of that, we talked about how on all those movies, they went down into the volcano. Okay. They had to fight a Leviathan creature and or a Kraken creature. One would talk about one would talk about the other in order to enter into that hollow earth. Now realize they didn't enter Atlantis in Iceland. They entered Iceland to get to Atlantis. Okay. We know that Cain was marked, received the mark, okay, on his forehead. Okay. We also, there's a lot of talk about a mark in the Bible. There's God's mark, which he says only one time in his Bible. In Ezekiel 20, he marks his people one time with an eternal covenant. He says it's forever covenant. He said, honor the Sabbath and keep it holy. And he says, I gave them the Sabbaths for their mark, their sign for all generations forever. He uses those words. That means age to age forever. That's why at the beginning, Yeshua kept the Sabbath. That's what I'm trying to say. Everything was created through Yeshua. Yeshua was the one bringing the stuff through while the Most High was up there. He's the power source. He is where all things come from. Everything that comes through the Son. Okay. That's why Stephen said, I see Yeshua standing at the right hand of God, because he's the Son of God at the mercy seat, whom all authority was given to. Okay. So with that said, Iceland was the entrance into the hollow earth. What's nuts is it's the exact same place that I think Enoch went into the heart of the earth as well, because he talked about the volcanic tubes. Don't you remember on my Enoch studies on YouTube, on my Facebook page? We talked about the volcanic tubes and the lava falling down in pillars because it's the entrance to the bottomless pit. That's why on one of these movies, well, this one up here, Journey to the Center of the Earth and Journey to Mysterious Island, part 1 and 2, when they enter into these volcanoes, it's like they do this thing where they're picking on it. Like they feel like, I've been falling forever. I'm tired of falling. I think it was on Spy Kids also. Like, it was just that constant joke. We're gonna go into a volcano. It's gonna be an entrance into a bottomless pit, and they fall and fall and fall until all of a sudden they enter a water source. They fall through the water, and then they enter into an air bubble pocket every time. It's even in Star Wars. That's how you meet Jar Jar Binks. Well, Jar Jar Binks gets saved because he was exiled from his underwater Atlantean kingdom. We go to this underwater Atlantean kingdom by going into the water, going into the air bubble, and next thing you know, they have all this power and electricity and lights down there in the bottom of the ocean. It's pretty nuts, in plain sight. Okay. Well, tonight what I want us to get into is that location there. Okay, in depth. What we're going to start by is a really big rabbit hole, 99 of you, that I'm going to ask right now. If you guys could hit the like, share, and or subscribe button and the notification bell so I can get a little jump in this algorithm, because this is going to be nuts. We ain't even done anything yet. Okay. First, another thing I want to show you is, like I said, now that I've told you, remind you of the volcanic tubes, I want to remind you that what I'm referring to is what you see on this map. These have volcanic tubes marked underneath the ocean as well. Okay, but you also see right up here is where Iceland is. And I showed you guys on Google Earth, which I will pull up. One sec. Sweet. It looks like my video is running smoothly right now. Minus the I'm speechless still up there, but that's okay. I'll just leave that up there. Somebody's speechless. Let me see how I need to hide current comment. There you go. Yeah. I'm speechless too, but just wait. There's a billion things more. I want to encourage you guys, if you're with your family, hit the pause button. Go get some popcorn, chill out a little bit, say a prayer, ask for discernment, guidance, understanding, wisdom. Make sure that I'm being tested. And then hit play. Okay. And then hit even fast forward if you want to skip through stuff. I don't care. Really don't bother me. Google Earth don't seem like it wants to cooperate right now. I want to remind you guys, if at some point I get kicked out because of anything, wait. Just give it like 3 minutes, 2 minutes, maybe 30 seconds, and it will restart. It always does. People know up here, but I want to remind you too. Okay. Google Earth don't seem like it wants. Oh, wait. It's because I was in the middle of the abyss. You guys get to see what I was looking at. See, there's a volcanic tube in the bottom of the ocean that we just entered into. Whoa. Let me get my screen. That was crazy. I got to get my screen share back. I'm sorry. Screen share is back. Here we go. So when I loaded up the screen, it was black. I was like, Google Earth don't want to work, but I forgot. I was zoomed into one of the entrance into the tube in the bottom of the ocean. See right there? That's a volcanic tube in the bottom of the ocean. An example of one. There's many, but that's one. Okay. Literally, there's many. If you can look for them, there's volcanoes all down there where you can see the hollow places inside. Like, for example, all through here, you have like these little mounds. Have fun with it, guys. Look all in the ocean. But what I want to get is this. We know Cain was a wanderer of not just the face of the earth, but he was known in going and creating many hollow places in the earth as far as tunnels. Like, he made cave systems everywhere. It's actually said that there's a cave system that can go from Kentucky or Tennessee all the way down to South America. It's also said that there is, in all these movies, there is a volcano here that I was telling you about, where I was telling you on the map, no joke. You have the volcano in Iceland, where you enter into the hollow tubes and the tunnels. And we talked about how the entrance literally is here, right in plain sight, underground, where it's been worked on. And where does this go, to be exact? Well, you can follow this. The Atlantis people called it the underground highway, the underwater highway at the bottom of the ocean. It all comes here. You see it funnels it gets bigger into a smaller system, exactly like it happens in the Atlantis movie. It's all right here for you to see. You enter into the abyss here, and there's your oceanic highway, and here you are. Here's how you get to Atlantis. You follow the oceanic highway all the way to what, folks? Watch. Exactly here. The trading port of the world. And Atlantis. It's even got this marked right dead center. Remember the shape of Atlantis? And I told you guys it looked like a bulge underneath the water. See how it's lighter at the top? Okay. And you see how it's darker in the bottom parts of the ocean? This is a bulge in the bottom of the ocean. And there are tunnel systems that cross at the port in the center as well here. You know what it looks like? The swastika. Okay. Swoop, 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 swoop. You can get all kinds of patterns. Even the Knights Templar. You can see some of their logos all in these makings of these symbolic ancient tunnel systems here. So many of them in plain sight. You want to know where Atlantis is? It's the sunken kingdom that's right here in the middle of all this rubble and cracks and middle of all this underground highway system here. Atlantis is here. We talked about that in depth. And how do you get to it? You don't have to just go in Iceland. Remember, we have also the port of Atlas. There's two ports. There's two eyes of Atlas. Here's the first eye of Atlas. This is Atlas's eye. This is his eyebrow. That's his eyeball. This is Atlas's face, even his nose. You see it? Even down here, the detail of it. This is Atlas's face, but you can see where the flood washed over clearly, right over top of it, washing it into the Atlantic Ocean. Here's some more rubble for you. But Atlas was divided in two. It don't make sense on a globe until you back out and realize that that is the same distance as, well, you got it, Atlanta, Georgia here. Okay? And you can see it from space. It zooms right into that this whole circular motion here, spiraling in motion here. Okay? That's been covered with greenery. Okay? Now, we talked about all that stuff, all this craziness here. The main thing, though, was Jormungandr released his tail, and you got to realize, in the movie Aquaman, look, they got the tunnel systems that go all the way to the what? To the portal to the abyss, which is right beside the tail of the snake. There's a reason why this trail stops here, folks. Okay? Please don't let NASA fool you guys. Use it against them. Like it says in the Bible that our Father takes what the enemy means for evil and uses it for good. Here's where the tail releases out. Well, this is exactly where the anomaly came out, folks. If you don't remember, I will show you in a second. Hope everybody's doing okay. I love you. Oh man, what is taking? Where is it at? Where are you at? So much stuff to go through. I had it pulled up for you guys earlier. Anywho, oh, there, duh. See? Look at where this is. You can see where the tail lifted and dropped. Here's the snake head at the bottom, and you see where this thing shot out from that same place as this. Boom, right there. Okay, you see it? And that's why the Kraken came out first. Remember, we talked in depth also about the movie Clash of Titans, and when the eclipse happens, the very first thing that happens after the eclipse, Zeus says, release the Kraken to Hades. The eclipse passes over and the Kraken is released. Well, that Kraken you just saw happened the day after the eclipse. Way bigger than Texas, causing 80-foot waves in the ocean. Okay, so we talked about all that crazy stuff. Let me make sure everything's all right. Donnie. Yeah, man, it's literally a road, right? Pretty nuts. All right. Okay, sweet. Now, let's go home way past all this because, like I said, we ain't really even done anything yet. My thing was, what I want to talk about once again was my obsession with Iceland right now and the fact that it's literally the entrance to the highway to Atlantis. But you know where it's also a highway to? There's a reason, folks. While Adolf Hitler sent a team to Iceland / Greenland, the Arctic Circle, and the Antarctica ice wall. Because look, there's tunnels here and there's tunnels where? Well, you've got it. This one leads where, folks? All the way up here to the uncharted lands. And you can see also where this is a hollow place exiting. This is an exit to a tunnel system. Okay. So there's also whatever what is that? What in the what? What in the I don't know what this is. But I'm glad you're seeing it. That is Bananaville. All right. Anyway. Wow. So yeah, you got this big old underwater highway literally leading right through there, right to Iceland, literally Iceland, and right to Atlantis, and then right to where the bottomless pit. Now, we talked word for word about the fact that, let me get back to here, make sure I'm doing okay with you guys. We talked about word for word that Jormungandr releases his tail, opens the abyss, the Kraken comes out, but following the Kraken is more and more ancient beast of old. Megalodon is literally considered the demon fish, I think is what it's called. Demon fish or demon, demon fish, I believe. It's another word for fish, but demon fish, okay? Which is crazy, demon of the deep. But there's also the Kraken, okay? The Kraken, you got to understand, Shiva was worshipped as an 8-arm blue god, okay? What that means is this: when you take a fallen angel and you mix it with a blue blood creature, see, we're pale skin like most of us, but then we have melanin and we produce darker skin, some pigment because of the sun, okay? But there's also this: if you have not iron-based blood, but you have a copper-based blood, you wouldn't make pink skin like when you blush. It would be blue. Blue blood, copper-based. That's why it's in your face with like the fifth element, that blue creature with the two things going back, and she bled what? Blue. Okay. But then there's greens. Like the Indian people, they worship green people. They didn't have 8 arms though. What's crazy is you think about arachnids and octopuses and stuff like that. They have blue bloods. They have 8 arms. That's a big deal. Shiva was a blue blood god that was worshipped with 8 arms. Why? Because Dagon and all those gods came from the water. Angels, if heaven and earth was created first in darkness, Satan created all that dark before, all that. Like before there was light in the world, there was darkness over the face of the deep. Okay. If all that was going on, you got to realize that's where all the white hair, blue eyes came from. Because if you were to put somebody in a cave their whole life, they would have white hair and their eyes would turn blue. Think about this too. If you go blind because you can see only darkness, your eyes turn blue, like blue. Okay. But there's also this. Every single movie that I've decoded on Beyond the Veil's Facebook page, I've pointed out this whole blue-eyed blonde hair thing back in history. Every single god, goddess, all that stuff, like that was been worshipped through Egypt, all that stuff. You see the blonde hair, blue-eyed pattern. You know why? Because it's light bearing light in the darkness. Freemasonry. The lesser light. Okay. Anyway, let's jump on a little further here because it's really about to get wild. Okay. So now that I showed you that, I want to show you this. You ready for this? Woo! All right. The first thing is Journey to the Center of the Earth. Every one of his movies and books always have the dome, the flat earth, everything pictured in it. You don't believe me? Well, I'll show you the other one. This one also, I think it was this one. Yeah, with the arch of the words. You may think not, but the Antarctica ice wall, the deep, all that stuff pictured in this. Okay. It was 2 or 3 more that we're going to cover, but this is a big banana sandwich right here. I hope you guys are ready, 107 of you. If somebody came in late, it's cool. We ain't even opened the bag of bread yet, and we ain't even peeled back the banana peel yet. We're just talking. Journey to the Center of the Earth. I know you guys have heard about this, read the book, and watched the movies about this. Each one of them, they go to Iceland. You got it. Into a volcano, into a volcanic tube, down to the bottom, and into the hollow earth. Okay. With that, we will look at who this book is about and actually who Jules Verne writes most of his books about. Okay, but the first thing I want you to look at is this. Okay, Journey to the Center of the Earth, also translated with the variant titles A Journey to the Center of the Earth and A Journey to the Interior of the Earth or Hollow Earth, is a classic science fiction novel by Jules Verne. It was first published in French in 1864, then reissued in 1867 in a revised and expanded edition. Professor Otto Lindenbrock is the tale's central figure, an eccentric German scientist who believes there are volcanic tubes that reach the very center of the earth. He, his nephew Axel, and their Icelandic guide Hans rappel into Iceland's celebrated inactive volcano Snæfellsjökull. I don't know. Then contend with many dangers, including cave-ins, subpolar tornadoes, and underground ocean. and living prehistoric creatures from the Mesozoic. What these are is just big beasts. They were big beasts. Okay, it is what it is. Once they entered the tube, they entered the realm of monsters. Or, as you hear about later in Moana, it's called Lalotai. And what that means is literally the realm of monsters, the abyss, where all the titans of the deep are stored until the end of time when they are released. When the angel Michael comes down, releases the key to the abyss, opens the key to the abyss, and releases the titans to pour their wrath out on the world, and it's horrible. But then the last thing that happens, you read about in Job, the very, very last thing that happens is everything goes dark, and you have this big old Jormungandr, Leviathan, that serpent of old, rise up out of the sea, and the Father sends the Son to literally slay that dragon of the deep. You guys think this is crazy, but it's all in Job and in Revelation. It's the last thing he does is slays that big serpent, which in Nordic mythology, it was Thor's arch enemy. Okay. Loki's son, the big serpent of the deep. Okay. Anyway, so in this book and also the movie, they went to Iceland, descended into it, and they came up in Italy. Okay. Now, interesting. In this one, you got to remember they were shot back up using geysers as their portal out. And I believe, and you see that in a lot of other movies we're going to talk about too. I think it was geysers. In Moana, it was a geyser into the water and back to swim to the top. Okay. And this one is believed you could swim back to the top. Okay. Now, the next point I want to bring up with this journey to the center of the earth, Arthur, is not only does he talk about the entrance to the heart of the earth and the volcanic tubes we've been covered. As I'm going through, I'm going to X out so we can move along and you guys can know we're almost at the end when we are. Okay. So this next thing is my favorite, 20,000 leagues under the sea. This is where things get bananas. Bananas. Okay. Someone made a good point in the chat box, I noticed. And I want to bring that up here so nobody will miss it. I don't see it. Anyway, somebody said volcanoes are portals, which are also trees that were cut down. Absolutely. Got to remember, the tree in the garden, the tree of life, ascended to the life, to the Father, to the source. And that was cut down as well. Okay. Those hollow places in there is like a tree trunk, but it's also lava because it's entrance into the heart of the earth, Hades, and the hollow places where the pillars of lava go to separate. But there's also, you need to understand, there's also in your face with Stranger Things. They enter to the tree trunks, but they come into this, it looks rough, lava world. I mean, I know it's not like that the whole time, but at the end, when Vecna comes up, it's literally a lava world down there. And Vecna has to fight one to, save the world from what? Him releasing this big beast onto the town in plain sight. But anyway, we're not decoding Stranger Things tonight. But could these tubes be roots? Absolutely, Marla. Wonderful. Okay. So let's keep on going though. I want to get into this. This is about to get crazy because like I said, I haven't really blown nobody's mind yet. Don't wait. I mean, just wait. In this one, let's see some stuff about this one here. 20,000 leagues under the seas. If I'm ever talking too loud, turn the volume down because there's people that complain sometimes they can't hear me. So let's read this. The novel was originally serialized from March 1869 through June 1870 in Pierre Jules Hetzel's fortnightly periodical, A Magazine d'Education et de Recreation. I'm probably butchered that. A deluxe octavo edition published by Hetzel in November of 1871 included 111 illustrations by Alphonse de Neuville and Edward, Rhea. The book was widely acclaimed on its release and remains so. It regarded as one of the premier adventure novels of and one of Verne's greatest works. I agree with Around the World in 80 Days, which is another good one we're going to decode shortly, and Journey to the Center of the Earth. This depiction of Captain Nemo, my main character for tonight. Captain Nemo outside of the rock, but Captain Nemo, okay? It depicts of Captain Nemo's underwater ship. By the way, the Nautilus is a submarine. It's important to know that, okay? The funny thing about this is in 1871, there were no submarines. And yet he was writing about them. It was regarded as ahead of his time, since it accurately describes many features of today's submarines, which in the 1860s were cooperatively primitive vessels. Aren't you a little curious why a little after this was Nikola Tesla's reign and he discovered all these Atlantean powers? And then later Hitler discovered that Nikola Tesla was doing it, so he's like, I gotta do it too. So Hitler goes to and develops the Vril Society. Next thing you know, Donald Trump's uncle finds out the same thing, works for the CIA. He assassinates. I hope I don't get kicked for that. This is just for entertainment purposes only. Assassinates Nikola Tesla and goes and invades his room and takes his plans for not just the ray gun, but what I believe was also a time machine of sorts and some other things. Donald Trump's uncle did that, therefore handing it down to Don Lord Bell Trump of Babylon the Great, which is why he's in every single movie almost in the background. Home Alone. I mean, I can go on and on and on. Little Rascals and the Orphan Trains that was so much. You can talk about him in Biff all day long. Then you can talk about his Trump Tower and it's 666 foot tall, and he had to add 2 feet worth of stuff to make it 666 feet tall. But he's always one step ahead of the game, huh? Donald Trump is always. Well, check this out. So was Jules Verne, and so was Captain Nemo was ahead of his time, describing this underwater ethereal ran Nautilus. So, like I said, it accurately describes submarines. This is what they're confessing. It describes today's submarines, but then it's in the 1860s. They thought that was funky. But what we're going to look at is our main character, Captain Nemo. But before we do that, let's look at this real quick. I highlighted this, so it had to be for a reason. Let's see. In this, they visit many. Oh, yeah. In the book, I meant to read you guys this. This is what they do throughout this book. They visit many oceanic regions, some factual and others fictitious. The travelers view coral formations, sunken vessels from the Battle of Vigo Bay to Antarctica ice barrier. Barrier being a border, barrier being a wall, barrier being a container, because water needs a container. You ever tried to stick water to a ball and spin it 1,000 miles per hour and still have the water rotating and flop in different directions and even really calm in some places? It's impossible to recreate. Science knows that. That's why NASA means literally to beguile, to deceive, to nasha. Because Satan nashad Eve. The first time NASA is in your Bible is when he deceived Eve. Wow. Anyway, check this out. Ooh. All right. This is all the things do to go to the Antarctica ice barrier, the transatlantic telegraph cable. Why? Because all things ran Atlantis is through the cable. This is why all the cables run to the power source. Atlantis, the underground electric kingdom. Remember, you even read about the electric kingdom. It's right there in Mario too. Super Mario, the old 90s Mario, they enter into the electric underground kingdom where there's still power, there's still everything just zipping and zapping. You guys wonder why we have so many windmills and so many solar panels, but we're not seeing any difference on the face of the earth? That's because all that's getting fed beneath the earth. Oh, check this out. Here we go. So they do all this in this book, right? They go to all these places. But the main thing I wanted you to see was the Nautilus, right? And the fact that they went to the underworld realm of Atlantis. And you see how this map is here? It's got an America and Africa, and in between that is Atlantis. It's even got like a volcano portal on that. And I believe it. Okay. So, and in this book, they call the giant squid the devilfish. Okay. So I think I've covered enough on this page that I can go on to the next thing. Because, oh, yeah, this is the underwater submarine pictured in that book. He even, look, you guys need to understand. Look at how this author pictured this underwater submarine over 60 to 80 years before this thing was even created. He had drawn this. Lights coming out of it, everything. Actually, if you watch Atlantis, you guys, I'm so organized and I'm so pumped up. If you guys watched Atlantis, like I really hope I encourage you to, this is his underwater submarine. Okay? Now, here's the crazy thing. I started doing a little digging on Captain Nemo. For those of you that don't know, I need to pull this up. The Bloop. Okay, you guys ever seen the Bloop? Okay, what was the Bloop? Okay, there's been so many things about this Bloop in the bottom of the ocean. Okay, but the main thing is its location. Okay, and actually a location of many things. You guys ever heard of Point Nemo? Okay, and I believe this Bloop was literally a portal opening and a beast coming out. Because, like I said, I believe that Hiroshima and Nagasaki and all those civilians that were killed was due to a creature coming out of the ocean. That's why the first one was about by the ocean. The second one came in. All the troops were trying to turn away. Everything. There's so many different stories and stuff all through YouTube. You can pull up too of confessions of just the radiation that came out, where they could see through their hands, see through the bottom of the boat, everything. And like I said, you look at the pattern of the explosion, boom, boom, and they killed all those civilians. It's crazy. Crazy. Some of the decoding we done on that. And after that, they started bombing the middle of the Pacific Ocean. I mean, it was 170 sometimes we had pulled up that night on that decode. Okay. So, and they've even, some of these people, actually, a lot of people have pointed to this being a beast. NASA tried to say it was an ice shelf breaking off at the bottom of the ocean. It's crazy. But the thing with this is that this leads you to Point Nemo. Okay. Point Nemo is where they are now tracking this bloop and also the location of this bloop. This was located, this bloop, this loud beast in the bottom of the ocean. They set up a headquarters called Point Nemo. Do you know who Point Nemo was named after? You got it. Captain Nemo. Why? Captain Nemo discovered all the beasts in the bottom of the ocean. Remember? We read about it up here. He went and saw all those things like this in the bottom of the ocean. You have Leviathan, Kraken. You even have this, looks like a dolphin with a unicorn thing on it. But even in this picture, they go through the ocean and into an air bubble. See the people down here? There's people in an air bubble in the bottom of the ocean. And in order to enter it, you have to go through the ocean. The Kraken's down here at the bottom. The octopus reaching up. Here's Leviathan, the sea serpent coming up as well. And there's the stuff at the top. But you have these two people in the air bubble at the bottom. And he knew all this. Jules Verne did. Okay. My thing was Captain Nemo. Okay. Captain Nemo is the one who leads charge on all of these journeys, okay, to the bottom of the ocean. Captain Nemo is the head voyager, okay? And that's where this guy comes in. His book is based off of Arne Sagnussian, okay? He was a 16th century alchemist who claimed to have discovered a passage to the center of the earth. This is who Captain Nemo is based off of, by the way, if you didn't know. Okay. Arne Sagnussian was, okay, you just read this. And this right here is exactly where I was showing you earlier, this word in Iceland. This guy says this. And they put this stuff right in your face, guys. But anyway, following his runic marks, which offer, I ain't gonna read all that. I don't want to waste any time tonight. This is what I want you to see. This is bananas. This is, well, this isn't like the big one, but this is bananas. The name itself is a clever secret code giving hidden homage to who? Raphael Sims. This is going to be crazy, okay? Check this out. The captain of the notorious Confederate raider, the CSS Alabama. This was a submarine, okay? This, you're going to find out, was a sea captain right here, Okay. And yes, he has white blonde hair, white blonde beard, and blue eyes. Raphael Sims. Okay. That's who this guy is. And like I said, this guy is the one that 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea is written after, is this guy. And yet his name is hidden within his name. Watch this. Simply place the first ES to the end and it makes it Sims. Okay, if you take this word, his name, and you switch around the ES to the end, you get Sims, which is the captain, Raphael Sims. Okay, this is going to be a big old crazy thing. Okay, now check this out. This gives you Sims Sunk Arna. If you take that word and scramble it around, this is important because Arna is Icelandic for the powerful eagle. Why is that important? Well, we talked about Zeus and his eagle. We talked about Hercules. We talked about that whole thing last night. We talked about America, Babylon, and its eagle. We talked about the phoenix rising. The phoenix that was a hawk before. The hawk of Egypt became a phoenix, became an eagle. Okay, all those things are in place. Isn't it nuts? Arnegnus Sims means the powerful eagle in Icelandic. And that's what Raphael Sims' name is. This is nuts to me. And all this is what, and see, nobody knows this unless you look deep. And that's what the guy from the 20,000 Leagues thing was written based off of. This is so important because, man, it's going to get crazy here in a second. Just wait. I got to take a breath. All right, here we go. So you heard all that, right? Now, next, let's look at this guy because this is crazy. This guy right here, like I said, his name literally means what we were just covering, okay? And it's pronounced Sims, you see here. This is where things get bananas. This guy here, I need you to really look at this man, okay? All of it, the white hair, all this. Now, this is when he was young. He got older, and as he got older, he got more and more badges. He got more and more everything. And the thing is, this dude wasn't just in one war. This man here, just read this. You ready? Raphael Sims was an officer of the Confederate Navy during the American Civil War. He was previously serving officer in the U.S. Navy from 1826 to 1860. During the American Civil War, Sims was captain of the cruiser CSS Alabama. Okay, what he did was controlled under the sea and above the sea, but this man loved to go deep under the ocean. That's why they sent him everywhere. He wasn't afraid of nothing. This is who the guy from Journey to the Center of the Earth, all this is based off of, is this man right here. Just wait, though. Okay? He got 65 prizes. Late in the war, he was promoted to Rear Admiral and also acted briefly as Brigadier General and Confederates in the Confederate States Army. Yet you don't really hear about this man, huh? His appointment or arrangement to act as a temporary Brigadier General from April 5th to April 26th. That's important because I told you guys, the 5th is the 3 days before the darkness, okay? I truly believe that like eclipses and things like that, even back in the 1800s, and you got to realize 1833 was an important time too. For some reason, April is big with sunken ships we've covered, the eclipse, and what took place with this year, not to mention April itself, as I believe, is the new year, the biblical new year. Okay. This is when he had to go sink underneath the ocean and do stuff. But anyway, he was never submitted or officially confirmed by the Confederate state. But this ain't even cracking it. This dude did so much more in the Mexican-American War. I mean, so much. And what the thing is here's another picture on for you guys and his other mate. Okay. But I wanted you to point out his blondness and everything. Just you wait. This gets crazy. Okay. Now, I want to make sure I don't skip anything. Yes, here we go. I'm so glad I didn't forget. All right, you ready for this? All right. Wow. What? I didn't even notice those dates. Captain Nemo explains how he built the Nautilus, an image from Jules Verne novel 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, 1866 to 1869. That is like the biggest perversion of numbers you have there, 66 and 69, not to mention the 8. But anyway, wow. It looks, and look, guys, that's literally him, a detailed picture of a submarine. And this was in 1866, way before submarines were a thing. But check this out. This is where I'm getting at. Watch, you ready? In 1998, Jules Verne scholar William Bircher was the first to identify the possible link between the Brigandhead England-built CSS Alabama, which is the ship of Captain Raphael Sims, to Captain Nemo's Nautilus. Now realize there's a big jump between those timelines. Okay. And destroyed the Unionists Kearsarge off in 1864. This battle has clear connections with Nemo's final attack, also in the English Channel. Okay. This also is a ton of information here of stories aligned with stories that are just parallel with each other. I don't want to get too deep in this because you get the point, okay, that they're the same. I don't want to go through every single war, every single thing, because this goes on and on with so much evidence of it on here in this rabbit hole. My thing I want you to know is this. You see this, man? Well, let's start looking at something. I started doing some digging on Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And I started thinking, let me get over here. I started thinking about all the movies that he was in. Okay. Right. So Jumanji, in Journey to the Center of the Earth, he goes to a mysterious island, and you know what he does. Well, mysterious island, he goes to mysterious island, and there's these big creatures and all this stuff in the Tartarian building back there in the back that you can see, right? So in Moana, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Moana has to go get Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson from a mysterious island where he is sitting and waiting. And then from there, they literally go to Lala Tyke, which I can show you on their boat. That's the whole point of this, with the Atlantis symbol. We showed you on Atlantis. The same symbol on Atlantis is used in Moana, but they have to go to this journey somewhere. Where do they go? Lala Tyke. Lala Tyke is an island where there's a volcano that's no longer active. And what do they have to do? I'll show you guys. Okay, you ready? Video 1. Let me make sure I'm good. Okay, let me get the screen share off. Wait. Okay, yeah, we should be good now. Okay, yeah, we are. First thing I want to show you is this video from Moana, okay? And I'm going to be talking throughout because I don't want to get any type of strikes, okay?
Start singing.
All right. I'm going to turn the volume off. He says, if he starts singing, I'm going to throw up. Here he makes a joke. He's like, every year a sacrifice has to be made to the volcano to open it. He says, no, I'm just kidding. Turns out he has to do this. This is crazy. I've done some research on not just this dance, but everything. He blows off the top, which looks just like a dusted cover top of a volcano. Like if you were to look at a volcano's top, it would look dusty and covered. He blows this off, and behold, it's the mouth of Melech, the Aztec god. Everything that's sacrificed goes through his mouth, right? Well, check this out. Maui has to do something here. It's not just a dance. He goes, oh no, I, he, and that mighty slam is important. The tale with this, the reason why he has to do that is to acknowledge that he is or a god or demigod, and his power. The force of the power beat down is what it would cause this thing to open. That's why he hits it right on the nose. This is in Atlantis. It says it has to be a power for explosion or blast in order to open this. He even says in the movie Atlantis. That's why he has to do that dance, which is an islander dance, because what? He's the master of the island, Johnson. So what do they have to do? The mouth of Melech opens at the top of this volcano. Okay. They both, after it opens, have to jump in there. Okay. Whee! This is the volcanic tube, the bottomless pit, the entrance where it's like, I keep on falling. That's what Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is yelling out right now. She's like, oh, I'm going to die. I'm going to die. No, the ocean chose me. Bloop. Okay. Into the mouth of Melech she goes. Notice she goes through the water. Now you have the vortex. You see the vortex? All right. She's going through the vortex out of the water, into an air bubble. I am in the abyss. I am in the realm of monsters. Lala Tyke, by the way. Woohoo! You know why he had to do the mark? Because Moana dropped down here too. She has officially been a human to enter into the realm of monsters. Okay? Notice the waters above up there. Pretty nuts, huh? Wowzer. Now, in the realm of monsters, there are indeed monsters. Here's a big old reptile. First thing I saw was a reptile, of course, and then a plant eater. Carnivorous plant, because, you know, after the curse, there was thorns and thistles and things of that sort. Cursed plants. Then there's bats with fangs, because, you know, they weren't in the Gardens of Eden. Parasites, bats, rats, cats, and owls, I don't believe were there. Okay. And then there's all these other things. You see the fish, all this stuff. Now, who's that? Well, you know who that is. We talked about that. Godzilla. Okay, Godzilla of the Deep, who I believe came up in Pearl Harbor, the first Titan to finally truly come up. And then it was a long period of separation. Okay. Because look, I told you about the geysers or how they exit. They get on a geyser, launch them up, and then they swim through. Okay, just like in the Jules Verne books and novels. Okay. But here, the whole reason why they have to go down here is to get Maui's fish hook. Look at all the gold and look at everything in Maui's fish hook. Funny. Don't you remember, guys, on our decode last night, what we had to do was watch the Atlantis decode. I mean, not Atlantis, the Aquaman. And Aquaman, remember, Aquaman had to go into the abyss to fetch his trident from the Kraken's garden, the guardian of the trident in the abyss, which is the key, was guarded by the Kraken. Aquaman had to go down there, talk to the Kraken is what he ended up doing, not really fighting it. And then he takes the trident and rides the Leviathan out of there to fight Orm, the blonde-haired, blue-eyed arch enemy that he was up against, and the beast of old. It was the war, technically, of the Rephaim and Nephilim, just as what's supposed to happen right now, okay? And the beast of the earth are supposed to be fighting too, and all of that. And we're going to be in the middle of all of that, probably hiding in bunkers and stuff like the Bible says. Okay? So, but my thing was this. They went to the realm of monsters because the next thing you know is this is, watch, look at all the shininess, okay? What's shining is all this treasure. But do you know what it is? That is a big crab called Tamatoa. And Tamatoa stands up with all of his shiny gold, okay? Because he's in the underworld, right? And he sings a song called Shiny, because he's the shiny one in the abyss. He's the shiny one. And he sings this song, ladies and gentlemen. It's called Shiny. Matter of fact, we'll pull it up. Let me see. I think, yeah. Tamatoa. He says, well, Tamatoa hasn't always been this glam. I was a drab little crab once. Now I know I can be happy as a clam because I'm beautiful, baby. Tamatoa's words during the song Shiny. Now it's important to note, Lucifer, Hellel ben Shahar, Hellel is where Lucifer comes from, by the way. Hellel means shiny one, but Ben means son of the morning. Okay, the morning is not the bright morning star, but the morning star, the lesser light, Satan. Lucifer is the son of the morning. Lucifer is the son of Satan. Okay, the shining one. Now, notice he's in the underworld, and here's the shiny one singing, I'm shiny. Okay. Anyway, that's just some fun thing that I wanted to show you guys about Tamatoa. I can exit that one off the list. But the main point was that is how they entered into the underworld on that movie. Oh, I didn't screen share that whole time. I don't think. Oh, wait. Oh, I didn't have to technically need to because I read it to you guys. So that's okay. Next is this, okay? Captain Nemo, once again, was based off this man, who was based off the other man. Okay? And then my next point was this, okay? Captain Nemo in a submarine, which was way ahead of its time, even in the book. And Captain Nemo himself, like I said, who pictured as that other guy, who happens to be like this. Don't you guys remember in Jumanji what happened? Here's the start of this can of worms. In Jumanji, okay, both the old one and the new ones, both of the new ones and the old one, okay, they go to an island. Remember, Adam Parrish gets taken into the game, but the game takes place on a mysterious island. That's the whole thing with the jungle where it's big creatures and monsters and all this stuff and everything. And some of the book comes back with them. I mean, some of the world comes back with them. Even in the new one with the rock, he goes into the game, but it takes them to this mysterious island where there really is big beast in that one and stuff like that. Crazy. And what do? They go on a volcano too. Okay. Both of those, Dwayne The Rock Johnson goes into, and I'm bringing up Jumanji because if you guys don't know, this is the old Jumanji. But what I want to show you is this, because it's in the new Jumanji too. This man is the man who was on Mysterious Island, the only man on the island. Okay? I need you to notice something about this admiral's outfit here and his ethereal fire, where he draws in his Tartarian power through his hat. Look at that, guys. Okay. Why? Because he was known to have gone to Atlantis. In the movie Atlantis, he looks like this. Remember? He was the one who discovered Atlantis, Preston Whitmore, who sent his grandson. Okay. But once again, notice the white hair, just like I was telling you about. And what does he do? He gives him a submarine to go to Atlantis. Okay. Same thing, but look at this guy. You see him? And you see him. Okay. The crazy thing is in this movie, he plays his father and the enemy, the dark and the light. Okay. Pretty nuts, huh? But I want you to see him. Okay. For those of you who can't see, here he is. Okay. And what he looks like is exactly what I was telling you about. But what's crazy is, do you know his name? This guy's name is Jonathan. Okay. So Jonathan went to the mysterious island, right? There's nothing to that, right? Except for the fact that this guy here, Preston Whitmore, guess what? His voiceover is done by a man named John. So technically, John, once again, we have Jonathan. He went to the mysterious island. Now we have John Mahoney. He went to mysterious island. But just wait. Don't forget, Dwayne The Rock Johnson went to the mysterious island. Remember? Johnson, and both the mysterious island and the journey to the center of the earth. And Jumanji, John goes to the mysterious island. So I need you to remember, okay? You got Johnson in all three of the Jumanji movies going to a mysterious island. You got Johnson in the Journey to the Center of the Earth movie going into the mysterious island. You got Jonathan going to the mysterious island. You got John Hammond from Jurassic Park, who looks exactly like the other professors who got lost being explorers. He even wears his hat. Okay. It got lost being an explorer and came across a mysterious island of giant dinosaurs. Same thing. So once again, we have another John going to an island. Dr. John Alfred, guys. Going to a mysterious island with giants. Let's refresh. Let's refresh. We have John Hammond going to an island. We have Jonathan going to an island. We have Dwayne The Rock Johnson going to an island times 3. We have Preston Whitmore spoken over by John Mahoney going to the mysterious island, right? Let me exit these out real quick because I'm really going to blow your freaking minds right now. Right now, put on your helmets, okay? In the mysterious island, guess what? The son's grandpa, when they go to Mysterious Island, he's already there. And lo and behold, he looks exactly like the other guys. Michael Caine playing who? Well, you got it. But wait, I haven't even told you everything yet. Just wait, okay? Oh, I gotta take a deep breath, just real quick, because it gets crazy. All right, I want to make sure I close out things behind me so you guys aren't thinking I'm gonna be here all night. Are you ready for this? Okay. in your Bibles. Let's open up your Bibles to Revelation. This is going to blow your mind so much that I'm very sorry in a good way. Open your Bibles to John in Revelation. This is going to blow your minds. In the book of Revelation, ladies and gentlemen. This is crazy. My wife and me had to like sit down when we were reading this earlier. In John chapter 1. Let's read it. In the revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave unto him to show unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass. And when he sent and signified it by his angel unto his servant John, who bare record of the word of God, and the one he sent to tell him, Jesus Christ, the Son of God. See, your church hates that. They like the word Trinity, where it makes Jesus Christ the Most High and separates everything that Stephen saw and everybody else, because the Trinity is from the mouth of the false prophet, the Vatican. Please know that. Set up for the blind to lead the blind in the 501c on the false day of the false Sabbath, the Sunday, where the blind, they think they're teaching the right things to the congregation who thinks they're hearing the right things, while they take part in pagan traditions of men, and they erect their pillars, which is their steeples, their obelisks, to their sun gods as you enter into the. If you have a child, cover their ears right now. 3, 2, 1. Or you enter into the butt under the shaft, no joke, into the stomach of the beast, where they have a altar where they offer money to a cross sitting right above it where the altar stands, and they have a podium where the false prophets go and speak. Temples. Because Stephen said, the Most High does not dwell in a temple built by the hands of man. In a temple. That's where he said it at. Now, here we go. You ready for this? Here's the big stuff. Okay? Blessed is he that readeth, and they that hear the words of the prophecy, and keep those things which are written therein. John, to the 7 churches which are in Asia, grace be unto you and peace from him which is and was and which is to come, and from the 7 spirits which are before his throne, and from Jesus Christ, who is the faithful witness, and the first begotten of the dead, and the prince of the kings of the earth, unto him that loved us and washed us from our sins and are in his own blood, and hath made us kings and priests unto God and his Father. To him be the glory and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him, and all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him. Even so, amen. I am the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the ending, saith the Lord, which is and was and which is to come. That was Yeshua Christ, the witness, telling John. Now, you ready for this? I got to get back in this mood because, man, the Bible just gets you in a zone, boy. You ready for this? This is going to blow your minds. You have John Hammond going to Jurassic Park, discovering a land of titans. You have John going with Jumanji. You have John going in Jumanji, the new one, as Dwayne The Rock Johnson goes. You have all the other Johns who've been talking about this, going to an island and seeing beasts, right? Guess what, guys? Here you have John, right? And you know where he's going? You got it. John goes to an island and he sees some beast rising out of the sea. Okay, I'm just going to let this one hit you for a second. You have John going to a mysterious island, Patmos, out in the middle of the ocean, where he sees a bunch of beasts rising out of the sea. From all kinds of weird heads and scorpion tails and everything else. I'm going to let this hit you here in a sec. You have John going to a mysterious island where he sees beasts and titan coming out of the abyss as well. How is that not hitting you guys? You have 8 Johns going to a mysterious island, and at the mysterious island, there's creatures of old and beasts and giant everything there. Do you know how much research it took to find out all that stuff? But wait, there's more. Okay. All right. Enough with the Johns and the mysterious islands with titans and beasts coming out of them things, right? Let's move past it, okay? Now let's look at this next topic. Okay. And I don't know how I'm not, there's 114 of you guys. Are y'all not, is maybe people are rewinding it or something, or I hope you guys didn't die or pass out or something watching this. Maybe I'm getting silence. I thought I would get more out of the Johns and the Patmos and the islands with the beast and the titans and the abysses opening up every time that Johns goes to the islands. But anyway, let's talk about Treasure Planet and the fact that in in Neverland, they have to go in a ship, go into the skies, a pirate ship, and into the other world. That's how Captain Hook got there and all that stuff too. And the Kraken being the crocodile who took off his hand and his eye. That's Nimrod and the eye and everything else. Osiris and the eye of Ra and the eye of Horus, all seen through that as well. And his boat, his chariot in the sky. And it being Pan as well, taking the children. All of that told in one story. But you got to, what I want to focus point is the boats. Don't you remember in Atlantis, the first thing I ever showed you was the boats they looked like sharks, but they were riding above the water, okay? Like jet skis shaped like sharks hovering above the waters, running away from explosion while the water covers the whole earth, okay? But then in Aquaman, they ride these boats, these creatures. The Atlanteans ride these creatures. Some of them are machines, some of them are actual animals. Same thing as well, okay? Now, here's this, okay? We also see in Atlantis, not just one, but many of those things all throughout that whole thing going above and below. But in this movie, Treasure Island, same thing. You have these boats going into the waters above and into the portals as well. They considered the moon the portal into the waters above, which was crazy. That's why they take ships through what they call it is the space base, which is the moon. In order to get to the waters above, they have to go there in a transport to go through. But here you have the boats going through the waters above as well in Treasure Planet, kind of an in plain sight, which was pretty cool. Okay. But now I want to talk about this. This is where things get nuts. Okay. There's so many movies about Atlantis. Okay. Some of them being this new one, Black Panther. Did you guys know that the Black Panther, the new one, was about Atlantis? I hadn't even really seen it yet, but I'm going to read some of this stuff to you guys. While it could be debated if Black Panther Wakanda Forever is truly a movie featuring the lost city of Atlantis, it checks enough of the boxes to be considered. The MCU sequel introduces Namor as its civilization. Instead of Namor being the Atlantis like in Marvel Comics, Black Panther Wakanda Forever establishes the underwater city as Tolokan, which sounds a lot like Lalotak. And then we have, like I say, they renamed all this. In the regular comments, it was Atlantis. It is impressive bit of world building for a sequel, as Tolokan mirrors Wakanda in many ways, as this civilization was hidden from the world, possesses incredible power. The battle between Wakanda and Atlantis shows that the nation is equally matched, and da-da-da-da-da. And then we have this, Warlords of the Deep, where they go as well, and who are they fighting? The Kraken. Okay, then we have this one I'm going to show you is crazy. Oh, another John. I forgot to tell you guys the big one. Oh my goodness. Okay, the whole point of the John, we're going to get to it. Remember Hotel Transylvania, and remember that the Kraken is in it, and remember that it's also about Atlantis. Okay, in the Hotel Transylvania, led by Adam Sandler's Drago, the dragon, go on this cruise to the city of Atlantis, which is a monster vacation destination. Atlantis is a monster vacation destination. They must go to Atlantis in order to have their fun. That's where they have their blast. Their arrival there reveals that the city has been turned into a casino, a startling different take on the legend. And that's what's crazy about America, is we've turned into nothing but big old casinos. While the movie was, I don't even want to read all this because this, like I said, Hotel Transylvania talks about Atlantis, but I'm going to show you something even crazier. Here you have the rock and the mysterious island and the mention of Atlantis. Here you have Cocoon and the Atlantis, Ice Age, Atlantis. This whole story is a decode within itself. I want to do about him and his acorns and Atlantis. It's crazy. Okay, it's called Scratlantis. It's going to be crazy. Then we have Aquaman and the Atlantean kingdom underneath. This looks exactly like the underwater kingdom of Jar Jar Binks before they entered the bubble. Okay. Then we have, like I said, the movie I was talking about, Atlantis, the Lost Kingdom. You see those fires, top of the Tartarian kingdoms. Then you have the old journey to the center of the earth, and so on and so forth. I can exit this one out because my next point is this. Okay. In your Bibles, here we go again. In your Bibles, it says, in those days, Abaddon will be their leader, Apollyon. And this is when it's talking about the second beast, by the way. Do you know what this one does? When the Abaddon is their leader, he opens the abyss, and guess what comes out? These creatures that have all kinds of different body parts, but their bottom part is a scorpion. They have tails of scorpions, right? Do you know that John's son is also the Scorpion King? Also? Well, in case you didn't know, let me see if I can find it. John's son is the Scorpion King also. And in the Scorpion King also, he's in charge of what? Bringing those up from the bottom. Okay? Here's where things get crazy with this John's son thing with Dwayne the Rock Johnson. Okay? I want to remove this one and get it up here so I can see you guys and what's going on. Okay? Because I want to talk about these things back here. Why I put these up here. I've been doing a lot of math, guys. You talk about a bringer of destruction. Have you guys seen Black Adam? Let's go on and start with this first mind-blowing thing. Let's break down the word Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Dwayne means literal dark. Dwayne means night, black. Okay? Adam means this, God's blood. A being alpha first, beginning, singular. Then you have Adam, which literally means ruby, red blood. Okay? Adam means God's blood. He was the first thing created. God breathed into him, making him both dust and God breathed. Okay? Now, you got to realize there was a good Adam, right? But then there's a black Adam. Well, Adam and Eve did a thing, but then so did Black Adam. And Eve, we talked about that in depth as well, which is a pretty big rabbit hole too. Okay? This is why you have two different descendant lines. And he says, I'll put enmity, hatred between your seed and her seed. And this is why they literally killed each other. One seed killed the other seed right there in your Bible. There's no way you can even twist that. And by the way, the word of God is twisted. Also, if you look at the correct translation, it says that Adam knew about, was informed about. Adam realized. That word does not, that new is not the new that they're trying to get you to believe. King James and William Shakespeare's collaboration there, okay? Adam was informed. Adam knew about his wife and what she had done. Okay. That's what that word knew. I did a whole decode on this easily. Okay. And then the whole thing with that. And she says, I received a child, and it's not from. That translation is not from. You can read it yourself. It's against the Lord. Adam knew what she had done. She had received a child against the Lord, and a lot of stuff. But my whole thing was this. I'm not even getting into that. My thing was Adam. Okay. You have Black Adam. Do you know what happens in the Black Adam movie? Dwayne The Rock Johnson, there's a reason why I entered that rock in there, is Black Rock John, son. See, we've learned that John is the one who goes to the portals and opens the abyss in every single thing that we've pulled up in front of you. Even in the Bible, it talks about John going to the island, and there's the abyss opening up and the beast coming out of it right there at the mysterious island. Then you have John's son going, same thing. Jumanji going, same thing. Atlantis, John going, same thing. All the John's son goes there and does it. And Moana, Dwayne The Rock John's son goes to the mysterious island. That was the other John I was going to tell you about that goes into Moana and goes into the volcano and releases the Titans as well, because he releases the lava monster. Remember? At the very end that came out of the abyss, the volcano. That was released by John's son too. Okay. The Scorpion King also releases these scorpion-like creatures from the abyss. In your Bibles, it literally says that Abaddon will be their leader and he will open the abyss, and these creatures with scorpion-like tails are going to come up on the earth. Well, John's son is the Scorpion King that opens the abyss, according to the Bible. I mean, according to everything we've talked about. But what's crazy is, look at this movie Rampage up here. Rampage, okay? In the background. I don't know how I would even do that because I don't think I have this movie saved. But up here on this side, this is Rampage. Same thing. He goes and gets all these beasts. Let me see if I even have it. I might have it over here. I don't. But in this movie, same thing. Bringing up these beasts. One is a dog-like, which is Venrir, we talked about, and then you have the ape, which is going to be a big banana sandwich here in a minute, and then you have the serpentine beast dragon thing. All of those brought into the city by You Got It. Their leader, John's son, who had to go to that island and bring and wake up all these beasts and use them. What's crazy is I could probably look at Godzilla and find out that some of those actors are his name's John that goes to that island where they also had to wake up Godzilla and King Kong where they kept them. Same thing. Crazy, right? Okay, but here's this, okay? I started looking into Aquaman, right? The movie Aquaman. And with what we talked about in Atlantis, I was like, I would have to prove that in Aquaman, it shows something about the Atlantic Ocean and how that happens. Well, if you guys watched Aquaman, you know that in Aquaman, his mother was the queen of Atlantis. Why? Because remember, Eve was cast to the sea as a what? Eve means snake in Aramaic. We've talked about that many times. Aramaic is the language that Christ spoke. That's why it says Eve is what you say also before the next day, because Eve gives birth to abominations. Like you say Christmas Eve, she gives birth to the Christmas the next day. You say Easter Eve, that's Eve giving birth to the next day. The mother of all abominations. She's mother of good, mother of bad. Cain and Abel. Okay. So with that said, you always have John doing this. But what's real crazy is if you look over here at the Jumanji side, right over here, you see him literally as the black horse. Apollyon, Abaddon, the black horse, the bringer of destruction. The black horse is the one that opens the abyss and brings the wars, death, famine, all that. That's him. The black horse, that's why it's right there too. And look behind this one. If you look behind this one here, he's got a reptile behind him. Here he has a horse behind him. Here he has an ape behind him, which is my next big mind-blowing thing. He has an ape. But over here, he has a scorpion behind him. But if you look back here, he has a hawk behind him. The hawk being the Egyptian god Ra. Are you doing the math there? You have the blue bloods, the scorpions, you have the apes like Nimrod when they were turned to apes and stuff. You have the falcon of Egypt, you have the reptiles of old as well, and you have the black horse. You have all of it. You can look at every type of thing, and you have the superhero versions of him too, where Abaddon has to be a heroic figure. Crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Okay. But my point is this. In Aquaman, I keep getting off subject because of Dwayne The Rock Johnson. In Aquaman, guess what? We know that his mother is an Atlantean queen. Okay? We also, Mera, I think is her name. Okay, it's where mermaid comes from. It's right there. Anyway, guess where the dad lives? Well, this is crazy. This is Aquaman's dad. He don't live near the Pacific Ocean. He don't live near anywhere else. He lives in not May, in Maine. You know why he lives in Maine? Because it's the closest port out in the ocean toward literally the number one, Iceland. It's the closest place of North United States to Iceland, but it's also the closest place in the United States to this Atlantis region entrance. Okay, in this movie, this guy, his lover, Queen Atlantis, would come up from the ocean into his lighthouse, and that's how they created Aquaman, the half man, half god, demigod Aquaman, who is Maui also. Don't you notice the tattoos, everything exactly like Moana's Maui? Well, that's Aquaman also. That's why he turns into a whale, he turns into a hawk, he turns into a reptile, he turns into, a shark. This is what's crazy, guys. Literally, so in place like he turns into a shark, Megalodon. He turns into a hawk, Ra, Egypt. He turns into the reptile itself, which is the ancient serpent dragon. He turns into, what was the other thing I said? It was a lot of stuff. It's just, oh, the bug. He doesn't just turn into a bug. He turns into a scarab beetle and runs around like a little beetle. Everything he turns into is who? Well, the Egyptian god Ra. Who was worshipped as what? The sun god, who's Apollyon, Abaddon, who was in charge of what? The underworld and all the big things down there, like Leviathan. That's why it's Ra with the serpent wrapped around the sun. That's why it's Jormungandr wrapped around the face of the earth to be released at the end. Boop, same thing. So it's crazy that even this points to Atlantis being in the Atlantic Ocean. Not that it's like obvious or anything. Then I came across this crazy thing. Did you know they sunk a ship out in the middle of the ocean in 2017 on purpose? Supposedly, they called this ship the Kraken, and they called it Release the Kraken, but they named the ship the Kraken, and they released it in order to create an artificial reef, supposedly. I don't want to show the video to get any type of whatever flag, but here it is. You can look at this stuff yourself. Release the Kraken, ship sunk as an artificial reef, supposedly out in the middle of the ocean. My dog just came here and scared the mess out of me. So that's a little rabbit hole if you look at. Okay. Then we got to look at this. Okay. Do you know what's crazy? I didn't make this picture. Do you not see the black horse of the rock right here in this picture by today's show? You have the black horse, Black Rock Johnson, Black Rock John, Johnson being phallus worship, by the way. That's why the modern English language has turned the Johnsonville Brats the perverted, man. Johnsonville Brats into that. They turned the Johnson into a description of a male's phallus also. And then you have this. Literally, it's Black Rock phallus worship, which is perversion. This is the black horse, the fertility god himself, Dwayne Black Rock Johnson. Okay? Do you notice the funny little professor down here? Okay, and 46% of people want him to be president. I made a statement earlier that's very bold. Donald Trump hasn't mentioned his vice president yet. Wouldn't it be funny if you have a Nero and Vespasian thing going on, where the first beast is in charge for the first portion of the final days, and then you have Vespasian coming in as Abaddon, Apollyon the Destroyer, who brought all those 4 legions of armies across the Euphrates River right there in Historian by Josephus and Tacitus. Both of them mentioned the 4 legions of armies set loose by Vespasian, the second beast that came up literally 3.5 years into the tribulation. After Nero took the first reign, the second beast came up with power given unto him, much like the first beast, but more. Okay, he came in as Rome's hero and massacred and burned out all that. You know, same thing. I see that happening here. I truly believe that we could see a Donald Trump, Dwayne The Rock Johnson president, vice presidency going on here. And I also believe that what we could see is maybe something, I hope not, this is for entertainment purposes only. Maybe something, I mean, not that I don't hope not. Something might happen. You know, it says the first beast will suffer a head wound. Maybe something will happen with Donald Trump halfway through. And then guess what? The Osiris risen ritual has to happen, which is the real society ritual, which is why every president comes out of the Osiris risen ritual, which with a black eye. Guaranteed the Wayne The Rock Johnson is going to come out with a black eye as he is Osiris risen as Abaddon, the destroyer, taking on the host of that one that was inside of Trump, the first part. Because, you know, it's a 4-year presidency. 3.5 years will be perfect for a flip over and a re-election of him. Okay, I can see all that happening. And him being the final bringer, the opener of the bottomless pit, the bringer of destruction to the world, Abaddon as well. Abaddon risen. There's lots of Abaddon. Abaddon, Apollyon, Nimrod, Gilgamesh, Cain, Tubal Cain, which is Tubal Cain was the first Cain reveal. Tubal was the one that had his dad shoot a beast in the field. Tubal knew who it was. Tubal knew it was Cain, but he also knew about the curse. So he tricked his dad into killing Cain in the field. But it did look like a beast. It says, word for word, it looked like a beast with a unicorn. It had 1 horn. He was dressed almost like a unicorn, is what it's saying. Or it looked like a unicorn. It was crazy, crazy. Anyway, killed him, and that's how Tubal becomes literally Tubal Cain. Okay, that's why Enoch also, bad Enoch, Cain's son Enoch, became Metatron also. Enoch became Metatron because he took on Cain when the house fell on him. There's a reason why there's 2 deaths of Cain mentioned in writings. He's the worm that shall not die. No one killed him the first time. God brought destruction on him because of slap in his face when he built Tanakh / Enoch, the city of Enoch, which was true Egypt, the first Egypt. After he did that, he made the Egyptian pyramid fall in on him, killing Cain. But Enoch rose him. Osiris rose the first time into Enoch, who became Metatron. Then Enoch became Cain. But that was the most powerful one, who died, who was cast out to be a wanderer / Nebuchadnezzar. After the flood, same story. This is where I'm getting at. Do you guys know? I'm about to put a lot of banana sandwich together for you guys right here that nobody's going to talk about ever. Do you guys know that Nimrod is not even his name? It's actually Nimrod just means mighty man, by the way. Powerful man, big man, powerful man, gibbering man. Now, you ready for this? Okay. Man, I don't even know how to get into this. Check this out, okay? This is going to really open your eyes to the Bible right here. In the story of Nebuchadnezzar, we'll talk about that first. In the story of Nebuchadnezzar, here's what happened. Nebuchadnezzar was given a dream. And in that dream, there was a big tree that grew in the center of creation. That tree was chopped down. And then he was told that Nebuchadnezzar himself would be driven out into the woods, wild, mad, into a beast, like an ox. It says that. He would be eating grass off the ground like an ox. Nebuchadnezzar was turned into a beast. Okay? For 7 years. Now, let's look at another story. Okay? Nimrod became Nimrod, a mighty man, at 21 years old. If you read the other stories, you know that he truly became a beast, a big titan beast. He became that at 21. That is when he put on the garment of Adam that was handed down, kept through Cush. That was the same garment that Noah wore. Noah wore this garment that was handed down from Enoch to Methuselah to Noah to keep through the flood. Noah wore it. He was uncovered in his tent. Take that in 2 different ways. And while he was uncovered in his tent, Ham took also his garment, okay, the garment of Adam, which made Noah also have the power to build an ark. You got to realize, then you ever question how he truly built all that heavy wood, heavy lifting ark with gopher wood, heavy wood? Okay, well, that was taken by Ham. That's why the Canaanites were cursed. Okay, and Canaan, which was what? Nothing but titans, beast, big guys. Canaan, the Canaanites are titans, giants. Okay, they were the descendants of Ham. Why? Well, they took the garment of Adam. And see, what they did was Cush kept it, and then when Nimrod became 21 years old, he put on the garment of Adam, and he also took the staff of Moses, which is also, this is why those books were taken out of your Bible. You were left with 66, and there was a lot more than that. They took them out so you wouldn't find out these things. See, the staff of Adam was so that Adam could take no credit for plowing the garden. Even that was provided by God. And Adam took that staff after plowing all the land. He planted it again as a tree. And that same staff was what Moses took up at the mountain and got his staff from. So that once again, Moses could not take credit for the power that came from God through that staff, which was technically from the Garden of Eden. Okay. And that is now actually in the hands of some very powerful people, along with the garment of Adam, which I believe was Dalmatian fur, which is why you see Dalmatian fur on the royals. Okay. White, spotless, with spots, because it was polluted and cast out of the garden. That's why Cruella Devil is obsessed with the 101 Dalmatian, white with black spots, tainted. Okay, anyway, here's this, okay? Once again, you have John's son, the opener of the abyss. In every movie he's in, you have John. And then you have all the other movies I talked about with John opening the abyss, the portals to the underworld. Okay. We've got to get past that point. Okay. I don't want to get too far off because we've got a few more things we've got really got to cover here. The reason why BlackRock is so important is because if you guys know who BlackRock is the number one owner of everything in the world right now. BlackRock owns everything. BlackRock owns you. You just don't know it. They own everything around you. Your electric, they're tied in with, I mean, every company you can imagine, from Walmart to Target to, I mean, everything. BlackRock owns it all. Do you know what else BlackRock owns? Most of the North Pole. Do you know what else BlackRock owns? Land in Antarctica. Do you know that BlackRock owns a certain mountain at the center of creation also, which I believe was the true tree of life that was cut down that you can see in some pictures that I posted on my Facebook page a while back, where you can see this big roots, this big stump sticking out at the North Pole, which is described in Enoch, by the way. Pretty crazy, right? So here's this. We have all that going on in the background, okay? We have a few other big ones to talk about, which is this, okay? I got to keep going with this Nimrod thing. I about got off track. That's what the devil will do right now, okay? Nimrod became a mighty man, a beast. Now check this out. If you guys have been paying attention, also, you know that the book of Jasher was taken out not just because of the things it tells about Nimrod, but because of also the things it tells about Esau. There's a reason why Jacob had to cover himself in fur and also put on a garment of his brothers before he could get the blessing from his blind father. See, that garment was the garment that he stole from Nimrod. Esau, in the book of Jasher, kills Nimrod, chops his head off, okay? What he does is he takes everything that Nimrod had, and he also became what? Well, this is where you get all the descendants of Esau's, which means the reds, okay? The Edomites. Edom means red also. This is where you get the red-headed Nephilims, the giants, which is like the Kandahar giant. The Kandahar giant in Afghanistan was described as having red head, being smelly, and a big old giant. Okay, the red-headed giants are descendants of Esau, who took Nimrod's thing, just like Nimrod took from Noah, okay, making Nimrod that, okay? You have to understand that something else took place before that. You know what's crazy? You know why else Jasher was taken out? Because it talks about what happened at the Tower of Babel. I'll show you. I wasn't even going to get into this decode tonight, but we'll get into it. Let me make sure I got my screen share going. Things are about to get a little frosty. Ooh. Okay. This is the book of Jasher, right? It's important to understand that in the Tower of Babel, okay, when it was destroyed, okay, there was people scattered all over the earth, is what your Bible says. Those were the humans, okay, that was their curse. There was 3 sections of punishment that happened that day. I'm going to read about it. So remember, this describes the Tower of Babel being built in depth. This one actually talks about, in the book of Jasher, chapter 9, it talks about how that they were more focused on building that tower than even their own lives, that it would take a whole year just to get the stones from the bottom to the top of that thing just to build it. It says that they would cry over stones being dropped from the top, but would not even pay any attention to the workers that would fall and die to their death from the top. They were more worried about the stones and the mix and the mortar. Okay, but this also says something here which is important and crazy. You guys know that King Nimrod, okay, was told for a reason. There's a reason why Planet of the Apes is a thing. There's a reason why Lucy, they named her Lucy. They named the missing link Lucifer. Lucy, who is Nimrod, by the way. They named the missing link Lucy, who was Nimrod, by the way. Lucy was Lucifer, just like Nimrod was a man, but then he was turned into a trans. Remember, His wife could put back all the pieces together, even his head, but she couldn't find his phallus. Just like in Egypt, Horus with Ra and his brother. You got to realize what happened. Well, same thing. They could put together all the pieces except for his shaft. This is why you have obelisks erected everywhere and why the word erected became what it is today. That's why Baal's phallus is erupted on top of each and every church you go around to as well. Okay? That's because of this. Read this. And the Lord smote everyone that was there. You got to understand. And the Lord smote the 3 divisions that were there. 3 different sets of people. And he punished them according to their works and designs. Those who said, we will ascend to heaven and serve our gods, became like apes and elephants. And those who said, we will smite the heavens with arrows, the Lord killed them, one man through the hand of his neighbor. This is like a war of the Nephilim and the Rephaim as well, turning man against beast here as well. And the 3rd division, this is the one you hear about in your Bible, that said, we will ascend to the heaven and fight against him. The Lord scattered them throughout the earth. This is why, folks, you see King Kong and Godzilla. Because Satan and his son also, you got to realize, Cain was worshipped as Quetzalcoatl. I don't care what you say. All the way to Nautilus. It was always the feathered serpent, the dragon. Okay? Here it is. Okay? Nimrod was part of that division. He was the one of those that said about ascending to the heavens. Let's ascend to the heavens. He was in that category. King Nimrod was turned to King Kong. I don't care what you say. Even in the book of Jasher, it says that Esau was known for being a Titan hunter, a hunter of giants, a hunter of Nephilim. Well, King Kong is a Nephilim. It says word for word that God turned those people building the Tower of Babel into elephants and apes. This is why in India, guess what they worship? Well, elephants are sacred in many religions, including Hindu, Buddhist, and Chinese, where they're associated with all these things: wisdom, fertility, power. Sound familiar? Exactly what I was telling you. Ganesh, which is another form of Gilgamesh, which is, like I said, an incarnation of the one before, which was, like I said, I can go in order. It was Cain, who became Enoch Metatron for the first time, who became Tubal-Cain when he was killed, and then Tubal-Cain, literally, Tubal-Cain is Gilgamesh in Freemasonry. That's how they survived the flood, okay? Gilgamesh went beneath the face of the earth in the underworld ark, okay? It wasn't an ark above the earth. His ark was beneath the earth, as above, so below. He took them into the heart of the earth as their ark, okay? Gilgamesh took the Titans and what he could into the heart of the earth. This is why Cain was once again cursed to be a wanderer of the face of the earth, and he hid in cave, the cave dweller. This is why Muhammad in Islam is a cave dweller. He was known for bringing up the secrets from the caves. Okay? Same thing. All over the place. But this is why in India they worship elephant people, and they also, their main one they worship is an ape head god in India. Okay? Now, here's the story of Nebuchadnezzar, and this is the drawing where Nebuchadnezzar was also cursed to be a beast in the wilderness for a while. Please know this. This isn't a joke. This is why people haven't put together yet that Nimrod and Nebuchadnezzar are the same deity reborn. And also, Cain, Enoch, and Tubal are all a lead up to this before the flood. After the flood, it was Nimrod. Because you remember, Dagon survived the flood from the waters as Gilgamesh. He became Nimrod, who was Nebuchadnezzar. The same story. You got to understand. Erected a big tower. He made everybody there worship in one religion, one term, one God, everything. The story of Nebuchadnezzar and the story of Nimrod both walk hand in hand because it's a reincarnation. It's the same thing that happens today in modern day Babylon. The worm that shall not die. That's why we're based off of the Roman, Egyptian, and Atlantean gods. America is the land of the feathered serpent. Mystery Babylon, the great whore. Okay? So there's that. The story of Nebuchadnezzar walks hand in hand with the story of Nimrod and also the story of King Kong. Okay? And the mysterious island. where he took all the Titans to hide during the flood, and that's where they came back out after the flood. Do you know what else is crazy, ladies and gentlemen? Is after the flood, well, they came out of the heart of earth from the caves. That's when they started whispering their secrets as well, teaching men the mixing of the iron and forging of the steel and things like that. Same thing. Okay. I do know that it's 2 hours in, and I wasn't even gonna get into this part of the decode tonight out because it's so much more about this, man, about this topic of Nimrod, the topic of Dwayne the Rock Johnson becoming all these things behind me. No joke. Realize, guys, that everything I told you, here's the apes from Nimrod. Okay, here's the falcon from him becoming Metatron. By the way, I mean not falcon, that's the hawk, falcon, whichever one you call it, of Osiris. Okay. Right, I mean of Ra. Ra, remember he's got the falcon head or hawk head, whichever one, eye of a hawk, eye of a falcon, whichever. That's where that comes from, okay? So right here alone, you have that, but then you also have the reptile form, and you also have the horse. Remember, I told you guys, Tubal Cain, when Tubal convinced his dad to shoot him, he was dressed like a horse with, I mean, a furry beast with a horn. That's a unicorn. Okay, but he's also the black one. But then we have his association with this. I mean, over here, the Scorpion King, the one that comes up to release the scorpions from the bottomless pit. So it's a lot of stuff I still have to get back into. Do you guys know that in the Kabbalah actually teaches straight up that Nimrod reincarnated through Nebuchadnezzar? See, the Kabbalah, you got to realize it has many truths and things like that, but you got to realize that's how Satan approached the throne too. He can only do what he brings up. That's how the Kabbalah works. It brings things up and it can only do what are in the parameters that God allows. Okay? That's why Job didn't fright. He knew that God would only allow what he would allow and only, stop what he would stop. So he trusted God. That's why we're supposed to trust him. You can only do what's in the parameters. But this also teaches that. Pretty crazy. Uh-oh. Oh, didn't mean to do that again. But yeah. So like I said, this is very important, especially the fact that he announced this. This is on the Today Show with the black horse behind him and everything Atlantis behind him as well. Atlantis rising, all that other stuff we've talked about. It's pretty nuts. Okay. Pretty crazy. I want to make sure there wasn't anything real big that I didn't leave out that I wanted to talk about tonight, though. I don't think so. Yeah, the John thing, even the John in the Bible at Patmos with the abyss opening was the crazy thing. And then the fact that the Scorpion King, when it says the Titans and beasts will rise out of the abyss, it says they'll have tails like scorpion, and the Scorpion King is the one in charge of bringing them out of the abyss, and it's just way too much behind it. So I just thought I'd share all that with you guys tonight. I think truly this has been one of the biggest rides I've thrown together in a while. Okay, it's a lot. And like I said, there's still stuff I haven't even been able to go through yet that I want to go through. There's a hope. My next one is going to be nothing but, I believe, the whole thing behind Cain and so much of some other stuff that some people just have questions about because nobody can be straight up with them about anything. But we did cover a lot of scripture. We've covered a lot of everything tonight from all kinds of different angles. But here's where I want to close. I got another John for you. You guys are going to love this because it's crazy. Watch this here. All right. This is the key that opens the abyss, right? This is Hotel Transylvania. They are out at the mysterious island where it said they had to meet. This guy this is, by the way, this is an octopus tentacle here that you guys are seeing. He opens it and there is this scroll inside, which is the key being harmony pitch. Like there's the key of Solomon, the king of David. Well, this is the key because this is the notes for him to play to rise the Kraken out of the abyss. But does he look familiar with his white hair, white eyebrows, bald spot, and machine John here, guys, that is doing something with his key? Guess what this is so crazy. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. Because I got another one for you. Guess what? In the new Kong movie, guess what Kong has to fucking first creature Kong has to fight at Mysterious Island. The first one. Guess what? Guess what it is? You won't believe it. The first beast, King Nimrod, King Ape. This keeps getting better, but I gotta slow it up a little bit. All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed it. This stuff blows my mind, man. God just really just, he knows just what to put in there. I do think this is one of my favorite videos I've ever done in my life. Everything went smooth. I want to say though, there have been 11 or 12 different Johns, including the one we just saw, that all look the same. That have journeyed to a mysterious island, that have gone and opened an abyss and brought up krakens and beasts. All right, so I want to see what you guys are saying over here now. Awesome! I'm seeing some wows. I'm seeing some great shows. I'm seeing some mind blows. I'm seeing some unreals. My favorite thing to see is these with the, and then the Johns, and then the, oh yeah, woohoo! I did it. Did it. All right, sweet. Just thought this was pretty crazy. I like this one too, Steve. The juicy juice. Okay. All right. Somebody said Jesus on. I get it about the whole. I was talking about BlackRock owns you. It's just technically they own everything around you. I think this was awesome. Okay. This has been so much work. I know my wife is like, is he ever just going to come in here? Okay. This has probably been the busiest I've been. I've been nonstop on this all day today just because it's been crazy. Like, my wife let me do this because it blew her mind so much. She was like, what is happening right now? Me too. I was like, what is happening right now? Are you hearing all this? Like, and it all came at once. Like, I was just sitting there this morning and I was like, man, this is not, I can't wait to go live. Started thinking about Atlantis. I was like, man, what about Mysterious Johnson? Boom, Jurassic Park. What? This, and it was just crazy. Crazy. So, if you guys enjoyed this, I'm going to ask you guys if you could do just one thing for me. Hit that like button or thumbs down button. Okay. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, whatever you want to do. It would be amazing just so we can get some more people in here to see this. I love seeing people wake up more than anything in this world. I'm still way too young to be making really money off YouTube or anything like that, but I do enjoy getting this stuff out there to a whole bunch of people so that it will continue to grow as a channel. But I need you guys' help with that. You guys have to help me share a little bit. Kelly, you made a great point. I meant to talk about this, but it's in everything for tomorrow because I have to pull in the whole Muslim side of this and the whole deception of Muhammad, which literally means Baphomet. Okay. I have to pull in all that tomorrow. There's another big old live coming with about 2 hours worth of material as well. Okay. So, I do want to say that I don't think that you're gonna, oh, check this out. I love this. I was wondering, there was one point where I told y'all guys the big old banana about Johns and the islands and the Bible's John and the island and the abyss. And it was like everybody was just silent grasshoppers. And I was like, man, I thought something happened. But seems like you guys got the whole thing going. So I really hope you enjoyed it. Banana smoothie. So I want to say though, just make sure you guys get this out there on some platforms. Share this on Facebook, Twitter, X, all that stuff. I'm thinking about making a Twitter X account. I'm not sure yet, just to kind of get more truth out there in the world. I'm going to show you guys the biggest banana sandwich of all, though. I know you guys have seen my tattoos. I was a tattoo artist for 3.5 years, okay? I had no idea why I was tattooing things on me. Okay, first of all, let's talk about my name. My name is Dustin. Do you know that Dustin means Thor's stone? Thorstone and then black rock. Thorstone being the light, and then the black rock being the dark light. That's just weird. You know what else is crazy about this? I have Lucifer, the light bearer, on my arm. Not just Lucifer, the light bearer. I have the Kraken on my arm. I didn't know why I got these things. I also have the Scorpion King on my chest. I don't know why I was doing these things. Really did not know why I was doing these things. I wasn't even a preacher yet. I got scriptures and stuff on my wrist. I just couldn't believe any of it. It was weird. Looking back now, I'm like, what was I thinking? And now it's like, what is happening here? Crazy. I just start looking. God does this, okay? He'll speak to you in things around you that can only be described as nothing but it's no way it's a coincidence. It's him saying, hey, I just want you to know this is real. Check this out. There's no way it's a coincidence. No way it's a coincidence. No way it's a coincidence. Okay? If you believe the Bible, you know that the Bible does not teach coincidences. None of this behind me is a coincidence. It's planned, purpose, design. Okay? Awesome. So, one more thing. If you guys would like to help out with this channel in any way, shape, or form, that's what this red thing scrolling across the bottom here is. I've shared my Cash App and my PayPal. This is all I do now besides help raise my daughter and my son and spend time with my wife, is teach you guys this stuff, work with you guys. So if you would like to support the channel at all, yeah, there's that, okay, as well. But other than that, I think that's all I have for you. Make sure you guys are tuning in on Beyond the Veil Facebook page, okay? It's very important that you guys are jumping back and forth, because I share all kinds of things everywhere all the time like that, okay? Somebody's asking for a testimony. Val, if you haven't yet, I've shared my testimony a few times, but on my Facebook page, it's the first video on my page. You can check that out. It's very long and in-depth, intense, actually. So you can check that out. Anyway, I'm going to jump off of here. While I have 108 of you, just make sure you hit the like, share, and or subscribe. And I will be talking to you guys on the next one. I'm going to try and do another one this week. Today is Monday. I'm going to try and go for like Thursday, maybe Friday. I don't want to do tomorrow because, like I said, I don't want to put so much stress on my wife with the newborn and everything else we have going on around the house. Okay. So I'm going to give it a couple days, but I'm telling you, the next one will be just as crazy as this one. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Love you guys so much. Have you a great night and or day wherever you are. Good night from BTV.